Oh, hi. I didn't notice you there. MaSean and I are back this week, and we are planning our fancy French vacay. Ooh la la. And we are going to talk all things BedPost Confessions with Sadie Smythe. Plus, we try and figure out MaSean's catchphrase. Did I do that? We did talk about taking your first out of the United States trip. You've never traveled beyond the borders of our own nation.
This is true.
So we might go to France.
Yeah.
What would you want to do in France?
Eat and drink?
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely going to go to the Champagne region.
I mean, I feel like vacations, no matter where you go, are always about just finding a new place to eat and drink. Not because you have to eat and drink within the days that you're there, but because that's what it's really all about.
I feel like vacations are to straight people like what it's like to be a gay man.
Oh, yeah. Every day of our lives.
Yeah. Where it's like you go have like a little adventure and treat yourself.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, this is so fabulous. And I'm like, honey, you should do it every day. Welcome to the gay lifestyle.
Is that true, Mariah? She's like, no, we eat new places all the time.
Mariah went to Canada for vacation. So
yeah,
that's pretty straight.
Is it?
Yes.
Canada's pretty gay. How's that pretty straight?
She's all Vancouver.
I know. She's questioning.
Okay. Listen,
Rebuttal.
bitch. First of all, we pay you.
Like, not that much.
She's like, the headphones are coming off.
It got serious over there for a minute. Yeah. But anyway.
MaSean, what do you want to do in France when we go?
I guess it depends on where we choose to go. Are we just going to hang out in Paris for a week?
I'm sure we're going to be in Paris for a bit, so we're probably going to go to the art museum.
Yeah, for sure.
Go see the Mona Lisa.
Just go to an endless amount of places where you can drink.
Yeah.
I do love a good drink.
Who does
in a foreign country?
I mean,
I've
like
never
that.
done it, but
Literally, for vacation for you, I could just serve you champagne and give you a viewfinder, and it'd be about the same.
Yeah. I don't require a whole lot.
Mm-mm.
But also, I'm sure... I'm guessing in my mind it's easy to catch a train to somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can go to the south of France.
Oh, shit, bitch.
How far is that? Everything's only 30 minutes away, right? How small is Europe? On the map, it's like my thumb and my second finger this far apart.
Yeah. You're like, that's just like a two-step.
Yeah. That's probably 45 minutes?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
How far is it to Portugal? 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You just close your eyes and you're there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to do all the touristy things. I honestly feel zero need to go to the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
Like, we can go to the grounds and take a picture. But
you don't want to go up and let our tits out like on AbFab?
No.
MaSean.
I don't have a lot of tit. So.
I think it would be hot.
And take pictures. I mean, yeah, I don't feel the need to ever be inside the Statue of Liberty. I also don't feel the need to be in
me either. That sounds like the
Eiffel Tower.
Is that like maybe my second hell? My second layer of hell?
Being trapped in the Statue of Liberty?
I'm going to go to the Statue of Liberty with like my family.
Maybe. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that either. I mean, unless by family you mean your brother and his family, because they're pretty wonderful.
Yeah, my brother is kind of what I mean when I say family.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
he's the only person I would want to do anything with.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad, he likes to drink but doesn't know how to like manage it.
Don't know who that is.
And my mom.
Met that one.
Yeah.
She's a real treat.
Yeah, she's a prize, and by prize we mean last prize.
What's really interesting,
she's a consolation prize,
is for someone who is so against us being together. Mm-hmm. She clearly likes me. She does, whether she wants to admit it or not, because I'm the only one she talks to.
Yeah,
when
I
we've
think
been at
because
gatherings.
you transcend gender and you look femme enough for her to be into.
She's like, he could be a lesbian.
Yeah, put a little lipstick on you, tuck your sack back.
Yeah. Oh, P.S. She's a closet lesbian. People didn't know that.
Yeah. Allegedly. I don't want her to sue us. She could be litigious. I don't know. I haven't talked to her since we got engaged. But
yeah, maybe.
She had the same problem 3 times where...
Can you get sued for saying someone's a lesbian?
Probably.
Oh.
She had
I feel like a court would side on our side. They'd be like, she's definitely a lesbian.
She'd show up and...
Yeah.
But she had the same problem 3 times where she befriended a woman at church.
A younger, attractive woman.
Got them on their feet. That woman started dating someone and the relationship would sour beyond repair. And I was all like, we know what this is.
Yeah. She pulls them in close, thinks she's getting somewhere, and then they trade her out for a man.
Yeah.
And she's like, rah!
I'm like, I saw this on the L Word.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know.
L Word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better than the original? Anybody? No?
Oh, it's hard to say because I didn't see the original. Like, my whole shtick is I haven't seen any of the old ones.
Oh.
So, I only seen the new ones. And the new ones have so many goddamn kids in it.
Yeah. Okay.
And no, not okay, MaSean.
I mean,
this
yeah,
is not.
whatever. Kids are the worst.
I feel like I'm watching a fucking nanny cam.
Gross. Nanny cams can be awesome. Sometimes you see affairs.
Yeah, that'd be. Oh.
Yeah.
We should make an erotica where
Nanny cam catches
yeah,
an affair.
we write it up like that. That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay, I'm on it.
But nanny from like Muppet Babies. So it's just
you only see from the knees down, and there's
just
striped
striped
socks
socks.
everywhere. Jesus, that is sexy.
here for it.
Yeah. And welcome back to another episode of Me and My Gorgeous Husband. Thanks for tuning in. I've never left a party where I wasn't wanted because I don't pick up on social cues, so I'm still here. I am MaSean, and I'm here with Adam Marr, sex therapist to the stars, and by stars I mean the stars in my eyes.
Oh my goodness, you are gonna make a girl blush. A and B. I love that you wrote yours out. We were two completely different human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's was off the cuff, and you were like this morning,
Never.
like fucking Billy Shakespeare over there.
Yeah, I'm not an off-the-cuff kind of guy.
Yeah.
So
MaSean, who are we interviewing today?
today we have Sadie Smythe,
What?
creator of BedPost Confessions.
Wah, wah, wah. Oh,
Hi, how are you guys?
we're
Wonderful.
good.
MaSean, I identify with being not off the cuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I came prepared with some notes of my own.
I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm into it. That's sexy.
I mean, unless there's a big audience in front of me, and then I'm okay.
Right.
Yeah, there's something.
Propelled by
Yeah, exactly.
nerves and fear.
No, it's the opposite.
Oh.
Once I'm on stage, I don't have the nerves and fear. It's when I'm in front of a smaller group of people that I do. It's really bizarre.
No, we are nothing
Yeah.
alike.
Yeah.
I like when people are like, Adam, how can you just get up there and talk all the time? And I'm like, I just assume everyone wants to hear everything I have to say.
That's
all the
why
time.
we're here. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Sadie, I'm very excited to have you on the show. One, because you bring a lot of big mom energy into my life, and I fucking love that. Yeah, you've been like in the sex positive world for a very long time.
Yeah, since 2005.
Holy shit.
So that was a very long time ago.
Yeah, I know. I
Gulp.
was probably like 20.
Oh my, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were just
That's bad math.
No, I was 20, I think. Because
No, you'd
I
be-
graduated in 2000.
You're not 43?
No, I'm not your age. Rude.
Close.
What was it like to write? Because you've been writing about sex online for a long time.
Yeah, that was when I started in 2005. There wasn't a lot going on. I mean, I'll start from the beginning. My husband at the time, his name is Brad, and I decided to open our relationship. Yes, and he encouraged me. I was coming home with all of these really interesting stories because it was as soon as we opened our relationship, it was really easy for me to find dates, quote unquote dates. And but I'd come home and tell him all these stories, and invariably we'd have friends around, and some were funny and some were kind of scary and some were very, very sexy. And he said to me, he said, "You should start a blog and share this." And I said, "What's a blog?"
Yeah, right.
And he told me, and he set me up with a Blogger account. And
Was this like Live Journal?
yeah, it was very much like that. Well, yeah, I think so. I never got into LiveJournal, but Blogger was definitely my jam. And I did that I wrote every day and for about a year. And I started garnering some attention. People were like, "Oh, who is this person?" I got into there was a sex positive sex blogging community. But I was the only person that was really writing consistently about open marriage. So I amassed a pretty sizable following, and then I went over to WordPress and got my own
Yikes,
account. So first it was Sexy Sadie's Stories of Seduction, and then it was Confessions from My Open Marriage, and I did that for quite some time, and then there was Facebook, but I wasn't really on it at the time. And then there was obviously I was getting dates through Craigslist, essentially.
I miss old school Craigslist.
Yeah, casual encounters was the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah, it was really wild. It was sort of a no man's land. Like, you didn't sort of know who you were going to get.
Yeah.
There was a lot of catfishing going on. I had some experiences with that. It was just, you just didn't know who you were going to encounter. And I got pretty freaking lucky when I think back and I think of some of the situations I put myself in. And I actually wrote about it in the book that I published later that was kind of based on the blog. Yeah, Craigslist.
Yeah, I absolutely turned people away when they came. I'd be like, yeah, this is not going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a real crapshoot.
It really is.
That was ironically what he asked for. Just kidding.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do like that your husband was coming in hot with full support. He's like, start a blog.
100%. He was amazing. In fact, yeah, he knew. We had been married for 10 years by then. Before we even got married, we knew that we'd open the relationship someday. And it just so happened that day came. And he said, let's do it. And then it was interesting. And they were stories. And why not?
Yeah. So, what was like one of your favorite stories at that time?
There was one. There was one guy who lived on in an A-frame house on the top of a very large hill in Marin County. I was living in Alameda, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area at the time.
I lived there.
Yeah, really? In
I did.
Alameda?
Yeah.
You did?
I did.
Oh, we have to talk.
Oh, sure. Why not?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it was a fun place to have an open relationship.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was a small community, so it felt like kind of safer than it would have been if I was in the city. But, of course, they weren't all in Alameda. As per the story, I drove up. I was kind of still drunk from the night before. Let me preface this by saying I actually, during this time, had a pretty significant issue with alcohol, which fully fueled a lot of my encounters. But he was not who I thought he was. He had given me a picture of, that was him 20 years previous. I showed up to his house. He ushered me in, locked the door. The blinds were closed. It was an A-frame house, so it was all glass on the top, but those blinds were closed, and I got super freaked out. I asked him, he just had this really creepy vibe, and his toenails were really gnarled. I remember that they were yellow and gnarled, and he was meant to give me a massage, and I just thought, what the? It was okay. I kind of came to and went, what the hell am I doing in this man's house? I have no idea where I am or who he is. And so I just sort of looked at him and I said, so one of my policies when I do things like this is I just like to look at people's driver's license so that I can kind of know what I'm, who you are. And he's like, oh, no problem. Lucky for me, his driver's license was in his car, which was outside. Oh. So we went outside, and he went to his car to get the driver's license, and I went to my car to leave.
Yeah,
literally ran. And Brad was so mad at me for doing that. He had really tried to dissuade me from going out there in the first place. Oh. So it could have been a whole lot worse.
I like that you showed up for like an anonymous date, and this guy was presenting full, thick, yellow, gnarly nails.
Right?
Like, put some socks on, you weirdo.
Exactly.
Michelle, he's probably like clawed through them. He's got like Wolverine feet.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was not cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it scared me. And I would like to say that I kind of wisened up after that, but I don't think I really did. I was young and really ready for some sort of crazy action.
Yeah. It's when you're more the monogamous, things can really be interesting. Yeah. MaSean and I realized, this guy that I've been dating off and on for a while, we were looking at his Instagram one time together because we all hang out. And one of the people that was the picture, I was like, oh, I've slept with that guy. And then MaSean was like, I've slept with him too. This person who we had not known because we let each other do whatever we want. Yeah. Had come to our house at separate times and slept with both of us.
Oh, wow.
And whenever
you didn't know.
Whoever was the second time, he didn't feel the need to mention, I've been in this apartment before.
Yeah. He came, I hooked up with him twice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I was like,
it's not a competition.
I won. It's wild to me, though. This is like, dude, probably came when you were there. It was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He's probably at home writing his own story about it.
Yeah. It's going to be in the BedPost Confessions. Get ready. 2020.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Ridiculous.
So how did you transition from being online, having a blog at the dawn of the online times to the BedPost Confessions, creating like a sex positive community and storytelling event?
Well, it was both intentional and accidental at the same time. I think we understood what we were getting into, but didn't quite know, how that goes. But I met Miranda on Twitter. So at the same time I was in this blogging sex blog community, she was in the same community, although she was doing a podcast, which was at the time the #1 sex podcast on iTunes, and she was very successful at it. And we had kind of crossed paths at a couple of events in New York and became Twitter friends. And then she said she was moving to Austin. And I saw that, and I went, hey, I actually live in Austin. We should totally get together. And she said, hell yeah. And a month later, we were sitting out on Rainey Street in front of Garage Mahal having Indian food. And she's like, what's going on in the sex positive industry here? And I said, absolutely nothing. There's nothing at all happening here. So we decided then and there that we'd start a storytelling show.
I love it, because now in Austin, it is a huge sex positive city.
Right?
I just did a workshop last night with Dr. Jess on like pleasure for all bodies. So we did like all sorts of techniques.
Oh my gosh. I wish I could have been there. I saw your pictures. Yeah. I was like, oh, they are all in love with each other now. It's such a great community.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we after we met about starting the storytelling show, I had already kind of had a discussion with another woman named Rosie a year before about doing a sex positive storytelling show. But for reasons that I won't get into, we decided to back burner that. And then Miranda comes into the scene, and we decided to do it together. And then we brought on our friend Julie, who has a great activist mind, and then also is an incredible actress and improv artist. Super funny. So between the four of us, we all brought different things to the table. And ultimately, we didn't have any stories aside from our own. So the first several shows, we were telling our own stories. But before we did our first show, we decided to workshop it at Spider House Cafe. Oh, nice. Because we were doing the show at Spider House Ballroom. We had made an agreement with them to do 3 months, and they said they'd give us their tiny little space, which is, their bar, and they've got that tiny little stage. They're like, you can use that. And we're like, okay, we'll use that for the first show. But we kind of thought that after the first show, we would gain some traction. Because while we were at Spider House Cafe workshopping the idea of the story, we started asking people around, like, we're going to do this storytelling show, and it's going to be about sex. And we're going to call it BedPost Confessions. Would you be interested in hearing other people's sex stories? And they were like, hell yeah, and here's mine. And that's where the idea for the Confessions came from.
Oh, nice.
We had not originally considered that it would be interactive or that we'd have other people tell their confessions at the same time. But when we were hearing them over and over and over again, we were like, okay, this is going to be the hallmark of the show. And sure enough, it is.
Yeah, I often hear people say that's like their favorite part.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a unifying concept. What it does is it's really necessary and cool and amazing to listen to somebody tell their story. It's another thing altogether to realize that there are other people in the room that have similar stories, and they might be sitting next to you. They might be you, and then you've just heard it told, and now you feel validated.
Yeah. And I like that it happens at the top of the show, because then it like sets the tone for the room. People are like, oh, okay, this is what's here.
Yeah, this is what's available to us. Mm-hmm. We can also tell what we've been doing or thinking about.
You're in a really unique position where people are submitting their deepest, darkest stories to you. Do you ever come across one where you're like, we should just forward this to the police department? Is there anything super wild?
We haven't had anything like that. We've had some non-consensual things that have to do with around like bestiality and things. We always have several of those at each show. And so we, throw those away. But I've never, I mean, I really actually, no, I don't think there's been anything that's been really overly
That's
alarming.
really
So it's like, I just murdered someone and jacked off on her body.
Right. And
You have 1 hour to find me, or I'm going to do it again.
I made her put the lotion on her skin.
Oh my gosh, no, I would definitely remember if that had happened. Oh my gosh, I hope that never happens. When we first started the show, we were like, can we actually do this? Like, are we allowed by what powers? I don't really know who we were thinking, but are we okay to talk about sex in public.
Yeah.
Because we're in the middle of Texas, right? And so it was a little kind of scary for the first few years, thinking anybody could walk in and tell us that we shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
But,
Interesting.
But yeah, no murderer.
Good. That's really refreshing because I expected the worst, really.
Right? Yeah, because humans.
Humans.
It's a rough lot.
Sadie, you brought some confessions.
I did.
This would be a good time for us to read some.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to grab some too because she liked to read.
Absolutely. She does. And she's real good.
She can be.
I confess, I fucked 2 guys who were best friends and roommates on the same night.
That's good.
That's kind of made me think of your situation with your guy, although it wasn't the same night and he came back and you guys are more than best friends and roommates. Although, I mean, that's what a marriage is.
It is, true.
Essentially.
Yeah. I confess, I love to gag on my boyfriend's cock so much that we bought a spittoon.
I love that so hard. In fact, that was at the last show, and I said that. I said, I've read thousands and thousands of confessions over the 10 years that we've been doing the show, and that might be my favorite. And I shit you not, I get to my phone a little bit later, and my friend had texted me a picture of her spittoon. She says, "Thanks for reading my confession."
I love it. I felt like that was like an antiquing trip involved.
Right?
Like, where do you get a spittoon in 2019?
We're on top.
I imagine you and I where friends come over and finally someone's like, "Is that a spittoon? Yeah. Why do you have that?"
Exactly. And then, there's then it's left up to the imagination what exactly it's for, and then you just hope it's clean.
Yes.
Yeah. MaSean, do you want to read one?
Sure, let's do this. I confess, I'm in love with the person sitting to the right of me.
I brought that confession because we get so many of those. I can't tell you how many of those we get during one show. So I love it because it allows people to have the opportunity to say, so, remember you heard that confession? I was in love. That was me. So I think it opens the avenue of conversation for people.
I love when they say there's a confession that identifies an individual in the crowd.
Yes.
And then everyone goes ape shit.
Yes.
Like, I remember there's one show where someone's like, the Asian man on the front row can get it. And there was like one guy who's like, hi,
that's me.
Yeah, those are the best where it forces every single person in the audience to start looking around and like thinking, I wonder who it is.
Yeah. How fun is that?
It's crazy.
Well, this reminds me, I'm putting my glasses real quick to read this one because that reminds me that I brought this one. I confess, I just want to say thank you to Adam for bringing awareness to shedding light on living with depression and suicidal ideation. Thank you for letting me know I'm not alone. And I am soaking up all the unapologetic queer energy tonight, too, because I have identified as queer and have known my entire life, but I have yet to come out. But maybe someday I will.
Wow.
holy shit.
Yeah.
That's for you.
Now I'm tearing up.
The power of confession.
You got me, bitch. I love it. I am often amazed to see people in my life who are able to take that big, like, queer, be yourself energy that I put out into the world and use that to level up for themselves. And sometimes that's like years down the road.
Yeah.
I have a frisky friend that moved to a square state and recently was telling me about, like, all our hookups and was like, oh, I see now, like, how I've grown because you just show up and be you and do your thing with me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you for bringing that.
Absolutely.
And thank you for whoever wrote that.
Thank you for being you.
You ain't alone, girl. Shit.
I confess, I have a canker sore on the back of my tongue near my throat. It hurts, but last night while giving my husband a blowjob, I used the tip of his penis to massage it and got excellent pain relief. Win-win. These are my favorite, where people admit something that's not particularly sexy because we're all human and our bodies are weird and shit happens. And it's very freeing.
Absolutely.
It reminds me of my favorite. I think the last show, someone in the audience had submitted a confession about how at the moment they had a yeast infection and it's not sexy, but they're dealing with it. And I was like, yeah, that's something people go through.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. And that's something we do not talk about is our yeast infections at all. And then Shelby got up later and she said on the subject of the yeast infection, I feel ya.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's so great to be able to normalize these normal things that our bodies do.
Yeah, that was really the best part is when she just admitted it in person. Was like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, we got this. All right, I got one here. I confess, I recently started doing professional gay porn. Now I love to masturbate to myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm on that boat.
I'm like that. Yeah.
Yeah, autosexuality. Come on.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've like jerked off in front of a mirror, Michelle.
I don't think I have.
Oh, I'm surprised I haven't made you film it yet. I did have a friend who sent me a video of him masturbating to a video I sent to him of me fucking someone else. And he like made sure to show me that it was like in the frame. Like, here's like you doing your thing and here's me enjoying you. And I was like, bitch, you just get me.
That is, yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I've only ever filmed myself once having sex. And the part I remember being most aroused by was me giving him a blowjob. And we fucked to that quite a bit. And I just thought, I'm doing a real good job there.
Yeah.
That's hot as hell, girl.
It's nice when you can appreciate
You're
yourself.
doing the work.
Exactly.
So, I mean, at this point, BedPost has been around for...
Almost 10 years.
I know.
We celebrate 10 next year, next September.
That's wild.
It is so wild. I really don't know how it's happened so quickly. Yeah. But here we are. Yeah. And we've seen a lot of iterations of it. When we first started, it was... we were in that small little space, and we thought maybe 20 people would show up because we just invited a handful of people. But word got out, there were 60 people packed in there, and then we moved to the bigger space. But we made it free for the first 6 months or so, so that so it was accessible. So people who were interested but didn't really know what it was, because it's so difficult to explain what it is. It was really nice that we have the podcast so that we can say, you can listen so that you understand what you're kind of getting into. But at the time when there isn't a lot of sex positivity going on in the town, it was a little strange to have people, to tell people, well, we're doing this show, and they're like, what? You kind of expect, men with, trench coats in the back of the room. Like, we actually would be like, is there anybody wearing a trench coat? Because it just had sort of had that, we had a little bit of fear around what we were doing.
Sure.
But then we started charging $5, and then after a couple of years, we grew out of, we sold out of the Spider House ballroom consistently, so we needed to move to a bigger space, which is how we found ourselves at the North Door.
Yeah. And now y'all do 3 shows.
3 shows, yeah. So we went from monthly to, after several years, doing quarterly, and then we were doing 2 shows a quarter, and now we're doing 3 shows a quarter.
Yeah. And y'all pay the people who come out, which is not always
the
happening.
Performers, yeah.
Not always happening in sex positive spaces. People are like, you get to like do the thing you love to do.
Right.
Just enjoy it. And I'm like, that's not paying bills.
No, it isn't. And it isn't. It just, I don't know. We need to support our artists.
Yeah. I always appreciate it.
We haven't always been able to. So that is something that's we've been able to do in the last 5 years or so. Once we started making money on the show, we're being able to cover our costs. Yeah.
I imagine being able to go on stage and present, or even just filling out a card with a confession could be like really freeing and healing. Do you ever get, does anyone ever write you directly and to thank you? Do you get feedback? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. I love people coming up after the show and telling us how they were impacted. I love watching the performers sort of get connected to the people they've just impacted. And we are very consistently get really positive feedback, and occasionally a little negative, but we always learn from it. Yeah. So that's good. We're doing our best. Yeah. We've learned a lot over the years about how to support different groups, how to, adjust our language as things have changed. And we haven't always been perfect, but we are always available to learn.
Yeah, I'm here for what I call level up culture rather than like cancel culture, which is like the moment you step out and do something, it's like you're done. I'm like, well, that doesn't leave room for improvement. No, because you can't just start out knowing everything you need to know to, be correct in the way that we're treating people or speaking about people. You have to make mistakes along the way. And educate yourself. So what I teach people to do in therapy is like look for how do they respond after the fact, right? Are they willing? Do they take responsibility? Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. Absolutely.
One of the highlights of the show for me, and I'm sure it's for a lot of people, and I just don't know because I don't talk to them, is watching the sign interpreters.
Yes.
They are so much fun, and watching them say things that you don't normally see people say, vulgar words and, actions, is the greatest thing ever. Like, I often get distracted from the performer because I can't stop watching the interpreter.
Yep, I think that's a very common.
So good.
Yeah, they're so wonderful that they provide this accessibility to the deaf audience. They remind us frequently, and then we remind the audience very frequently that they're there for the deaf audience, that we get to obviously be entertained and pleasured by them. But their function is to share these stories with these folks.
Yeah,
who
it's not
might
for
know
our
the words.
entertainment.
Exactly. But we're entertained nonetheless. But they're such wonderful people, and we are so just honored to have them.
And it's work, because I remember
it's a lot of work.
I did a piece and I talked about Eiffel Towering.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
And he was like, "Okay, we have to work out this sign because this is not something we normally sign."
Yeah. Nope. But it was so good. When was that?
That was last year. Yeah.
Did they interpret that in just one person, or did they bring up a pal?
I think it was just one person.
Oh, that'd been awesome.
Did you not do it with one of the interpreters? I remember you clasping hands with somebody and saying, "I
mimed it
myself." Okay, that's what it was.
Because that's who she is.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Oh my gosh, the last one I just did, that one was emotional.
Yeah, you did such a great job. Though there was not a dry eye in the audience. It was so beautiful.
I was like, next one I'm writing is just going to be funny. She's done being vulnerable.
Funny is vulnerable too, I feel like.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah. You were great. I was so happy my teenager was in the audience with his boyfriend, and because they struggle with depression, and so many people do, and so many people need to hear other folks be able to normalize it.
Yeah. So, Sadie, what does great sex mean to you?
I thought about this a lot because, I've had so much of it over the years, and it's changed so much over the years. But I think back to laughter as vulnerability, I feel like if we can laugh, everything's going to be good. I feel you can even get to sexy and sensual after a little bit of funny. I love sexy and sensual, but there's something really kind of interesting about the vulnerability of being able to be like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. Like the way my leg is right now, or, what my body is doing or saying or smelling, it's just the act of sex and all of its facets is a ridiculous endeavor.
Yeah. So studies show that what we find to be disgusting actually lessens when we're aroused.
Oh, yes, of course.
Because
absolutely.
We're just like meat sacks flapping ourselves together
Yep.
with fluids coming out all over the place. And evolution was like, no, girl, we're going to have to make what you find disgusting a little less to make this work.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can think of some things that I've done that I would have been disgusted by, but I was like, oh no, that's actually pretty freaking hot.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And it's also why as you negotiate consent, you want to do that up front, because when someone's aroused, it's easy to then be like, oh, I'm in this moment, I feel this thing, I'm going to do this now.
Right.
Rather than being like, cool, what's a soft boundary for you? We got to check in the moment. Just don't spring it on someone.
Yeah, absolutely. That's important.
Oof. MaSean, what do you consider to be great sex? What's great sex mean to you?
Oh, as someone with a ton of anxiety and hangups, I think the easier things are and the more relaxed it is, the better. So when people treat what's going on like it's just commonplace and perfectly normal, I think that is really amazing.
So you don't want someone to create a fantasy, light a bunch of candles?
I mean, no, that works too. But in my head, I used to always be so high strung and want everything to be I guess in a porno, to be thought out and everything well placed and acted out and all that jazz, which creates a lot of stress. So when something happens not according to plan, like a noise or a whatever, then suddenly things are really awkward. Mm-hmm. But over the years, I found that when you're with people who are just really relaxed and they treat everything like it's perfectly normal, because it is, all those sounds or, whatever mm-hmm. position you contort yourself into, or, when you do contort yourself into a position, however the body folds, all these things are perfectly normal. And I think that makes things really great because it's just more relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I identify with that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure. I was going to say, I think for me, being someone who was told that they are less than because of their sexuality, like there's a lot of power in just being seen and celebrated in whatever you're doing. To show up and just be like, yeah, we can act out a scene where we're like aliens from space, to we could like have this like real sweet tender moment, to I could dom the shit out of you, and we're all gonna love it and feel close through that level of intimacy.
Yeah.
And that to me is like the absolute best.
Huh.
And when someone can like do that with you on a consistent basis, and then you have like your everyday relationship of closeness and friendship, I fucking love that.
Yeah. Yay.
Yay. She approves.
I do approve. I was just thinking about because I'm in a relationship with a woman now and have been for 5 years. The sex is different, obviously, because our bodies are different. But there's a different approach and a way of being with each other that is completely counter to how I have ever been with men, because women's bodies have been traumatized. Mm-hmm. And so taking care around how we are with each other is super important, but also amazing when we can kind of both honor that, which is something you don't always sort of get when you don't understand a person's body, and their psyche. So knowing somebody very deeply for me, it always is. I love a good one-off stranger fuck, but it doesn't fill me up, in the mental and psychological and spiritual sense. the way that some like connecting and having sex with somebody that you really, really love and care about and know very well.
Yeah, there's so many ways to feel connection. Mm-hmm. So I go to New York often, and there's a guy who lives near the hotel I usually stay in, and we have fucked probably 4 times now. I still don't know his name. It's great. There's not like a whole conversation. I'm just like in town. He's like, yo, what's up? I'm like, can we fuck you? He's like, yeah, I'll be over. I'm like, great. And it's like, that's all we do, and that's it. And it's fucking amazing.
The name is superfluous.
Yeah. He's just like, hey, what's up?
Come on in.
You're still alive. Great.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, easy.
Yeah. And then sometimes I want things that are really complex. I'm like, all right, I want to like make a Scooby-Doo mystery.
Oh my gosh.
What?
That's exciting.
That would make a really hot kink scene. Do you not think so?
Maybe.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to shoot it down.
Like, I would be dressed as Velma, because of course. Mm-hmm. Daphne, to my right. Thank you, Sadie. And we come in, and you're like the old man in a monster costume that we've caught, and like you're tied up. So then we get to like tease you and all that.
Why am I so old?
MaSean, that's between you and your lord.
I'm not a Scoob. Whatever.
I'm not Scooby.
I think you should be Scooby.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I guess that makes Mariah the monster old person. I hope you like haunted amusement parks. Good.
Sure.
That's what she's about.
It's easy, please.
Don't tell Jordan. That's her husband, if you don't know, people. I know. Mariah's like, why am I always the center fucking fold of this goddamn podcast?
And drag you in.
Because she's awesome.
She is. I mean, she is helping bring back the BedPost Confessions.
Yes, absolutely. She's doing an amazing job.
So, yeah, what's that been like to have it come back and go full force again?
The podcast, it's exciting because it feels, when we first started doing the podcast, it was, podcasts weren't the thing that they are today. They were around, but now, everybody's got a podcast, and so they're very well produced. So there's, I don't want to say competition because there's a space for everyone, but there's, it needed to be done, and Mariah was the person to do it because she knows the show very deeply, and Miranda and myself, she knows as well. So it just made sense, and it's exciting. We decided to add 2 shows a month instead of just 1, so that's new.
Oh, I love it. I was going to say, I use the podcast oftentimes as a resource for clients.
Do you?
Yeah, because I know a lot of people's stories that are on there, and I'll be like, oh, you should go listen to like this, and I'll send them the link.
I love that.
Just because it leaves them not feeling alone in whatever's going on, or gives them more insight, helps them like go, yeah, like especially because I do a lot of more than monogamy work. So as people are trying to navigate that, they sometimes feel like, oh, I'm not cool enough because I have jealousy.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, a lot of people in the community have jealousy.
I have actually a podcast about jealousy.
What?
Yes.
Who are you, Sadie?
Yeah, it's in one of the early days of the podcast, I think, but you can look on the website. I think it's a good one. It's all about jealousy and open relationships and how I managed it.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
What was wild to me when MaSean and I opened up was I turned out to be the jealous one.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
true.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
that's unexpected.
I like to be the center of attention. And so it took me a hot minute, and I had to be like, girl, how's jealousy trying to help you? And once I asked myself that question, I was like, oh, it really wants me to feel special. And it was then pretty easy because I just said, MaSean, can we have like a date night like once a week? And then can you only call me, like, can you reserve this pet name just for me?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you want to say it, MaSean? Because I love when you say it.
Cakes.
I know. What's it short for?
Le petit gâteau? I'm just kidding. What do you mean is it short for?
Oh, baby cakes.
I was going to say, is it baby cake?
Yeah.
I know you. Honestly, I never really thought about it.
You told me that once. Oh, my God. You're
I'm old.
crushing my dreams.
Memories are fading.
MaSean, dream crusher Fontenot.
Now that makes sense. I don't know why else I would have come up with cakes.
I
He's
do
always
like cake.
stuffing cake in his face. No, I don't know. No, that's probably true.
Yeah.
I just don't remember things.
I like that I'm pretty, like, far with the leash for our more than monogamous relationship, but I'm like, if you call anyone else cakes, I will murder them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sacred. You have to have something sacred between you that no one else can touch,
Yeah.
I believe. I used to just envision before things would happen, them happening, so that I could kind of get my nervous system attuned to what would invariably happen when it did. And it sort of worked. It was oddly. I also just, when Brad, my husband at the time, would go out on dates, I would also just, busy myself doing other things.
And I think doing things that you yourself really want to do or love, right? Like how often in a relationship do we sometimes even not really consciously just kind of get into a groove and do what our partner does. And so it's really lovely when you're like, oh, I can actually be intentional with this time for myself. Right. And what's going to be meaningful to me. Maybe I see the movie that my partner would never want to see. Maybe I start painting again, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm pretty much an introvert, and I didn't realize that until much later in my life. So when my partner now, she is an extrovert and she needs to go. She needs her alone time, but she definitely needs to go out. She's a Gemini. She needs to go flit about and see new people and have new experiences. And I'm so ecstatic for her to do that. And also at the same time, it allows me to get my quiet time.
I'm so ecstatic for her not to involve me in that.
Right, exactly.
Same.
I just recently started reteaching myself how to play piano.
Oh.
So that's something that I'm like super excited about, being able to kind of have the space to be able to do. But yes, I love to be alone, and I love to be in my house. I'm a homebody, and I like to be in pajamas.
I can't make people understand that.
Really? Yeah. Me too. We have a recent friend who's just moved in with us for a little while. It's been amazing. But she's like, what are you doing tonight? I'm like, I'm staying in. She's like, why? Yeah. I think she's getting it. Yeah. And Annette, my girlfriend, totally gets it now. She's like, do you want to come? No pressure. If you'd like to come. I'd love you to be, but no pressure.
Yeah. I find myself often explaining this to people at work. I work in a situation where I work all over the city at many, many different facilities, and we'll often run into new employees, and then we get to talking, and they're like, oh my God, you're so awesome. We should hang out on the weekend. I'm like, oh, no. That's not going to happen. And it's not because I don't want to be your friend. It's because truly my idea of perfection, my heaven, is to just be at the apartment by myself all weekend and never leave. And I don't need anybody mucking that up. And also, I think you're really awesome too, and we should be friends. And luckily, I get to see you at work all the time. So that's as far as that's going.
Yeah, and part of being friends is understanding
Yeah.
someone. To be like, oh, if I'm really going to be your friend, then it has to be respectful of who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that.
No,
they just feel rejected.
They write a script of what it means to be friends, and if you're not doing that, then what's wrong with me?
Yeah, it's true.
It's like you're not wine or Netflix or my house.
Right.
This is what's wrong with you.
I will be spooning my dog and watching Netflix all weekend. Thank you.
I'm so happy to know that because it really actually validates my own sort of
My confession
situation. Thank you, Michelle.
is that I am boring and love to stay at home. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Sadie, I was really excited to have you on the podcast, not only because we know each other through BedPost, but this year when I went to Austin Pride, I got to run into you.
We got to hang
at the VIP section because I'm a bougie bitch. And your business was like taking care of Austin Pride's drinks.
Yes, they were the Pride beverage concessionaire, and it was very exciting. It was the first time we've ever gotten to work with Pride, and we had 5 bars throughout the event. And yes, the VIP bar was the place where it was air conditioned, so I was there a lot.
Yeah.
I was just there to.
And they kept bringing us
no
food.
fool.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
The food was incredible.
So your business is Drink Slingers.
It's called Drink Slingers.
And you do it with Nanette.
We do.
How is it to like work together on something? Because it's different than like being in a relationship. It's another thing to be like, we also work on this thing together. We own this baby.
It's two very separate relationships merged into one. And I remember when we were first building the business, we were building it. Well, let me start by saying we met the day after my birthday in October of 2015. And then 3 months later started the business. So it was sort of like U-hauling, but on a much bigger level. I started the business before we actually moved in together. But when we were building the business, I remember putting up a post on Facebook, and one of the great things about building a business with your partner is that you get to see them all the time. And now I'm kind of like, well, that's changed a little bit. But we have an office, and so we stagger our times in the office between working from home. And we're actually about to move into a larger space with a bigger, more office space, so we can continue to stagger and then also have some meetings of our own each week. But it's a lot, but it's amazing. It's challenging and extremely challenging, but I can't imagine doing it with anybody else.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
I think it takes some radical vulnerability. So in loving MaSean, who loves to have the house to himself, the apartment to himself, I work sometimes like on the weekend just to be like, yo, I mean, not only do I get like paid well because I'm working on the weekend, but you need space to yourself at times, even without me there.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I feel like if you didn't have that, it would be creating some friction because you need some like downtime.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm lovely.
Sometimes you, for whatever reason, people cancel or you have the day off or whatever, and you're like, sorry, I'm here. I'm like, it's not that big a deal. Like, we live here. You can be here anytime you want. But I do appreciate my Saturdays and Sundays of nothingness. Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to putter around the house in my bathrobe and like sweep the front porch and like tinker with my plants and just do all this old lady stuff that is just wonderful. Go to the gym.
I love
walk
it.
the dog.
I have 3 kimonos, P.S.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you never know what mood you're going to be in.
No, you really don't.
One is floral.
Is it long?
It has like, long sleeves, but it's short because gay.
Shorty robe.
I have one that's gold metallic, and then one that's like looks like black leather.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah, it just depends on the mood.
It does. I have a couple of kimonos and several muumuus.
Yes.
Because those are important.
People don't know you bring like big witch energy to wherever you go.
Thank you.
I love it.
It's the hair.
Yes, the Stevie Nicks realness.
My God.
Sadie,
Yes.
you know a lot about astrology.
I know a little bit. I know it's also all by osmosis, and Nanette is super into astrology.
Wow.
And she's actually just begun astrology school in Oregon.
Really?
Yes. I'm so excited for her. And also for me, because she'll let me know what she's learning. It's so cool.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I was going to have you talk about MaSean's sign.
My zodiac. I'm an Eeyore. Eeyore, that's a sign, right?
That's amazing. Yeah. Are you a Cancer?
I'm not. I'm a Taurus.
You're a Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, like, textbook. Yeah. So.
Yeah. What does that mean to you, Michelle?
I'm very, mostly structured, business-minded. I'm good with money. I'm very hard-headed and, to a degree, stuck in my ways. But also...
Loyal.
I think I'm super loyal. And
Oh, my God.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if I ever murder someone, MaSean's going to be the one that, dumps that body for me and be like, we're getting you out of the country, bitch.
This is what we're in for. Mm-hmm. Sign those papers.
You have a look on your face like that might happen.
Yeah. He knows me.
Yeah.
I like that we found each other because I'm on the opposite end of a lot of that.
True.
Being an Aquarius.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
how did y'all meet?
MC Scat Cat knew what he was talking about.
Oh my gosh. We met at a birthday party that I had with a bunch of friends, and MaSean was just so cute and introverted that I was not going to stand for him not interacting.
Yeah, I randomly knew a birthday girl. There was 3 people having a birthday, share a birthday party. And I didn't know anyone else connected to any of these people. And I hadn't even talked to her in months. And somehow we got back in contact. And she's like, I haven't seen you in so long. She's like, my birthday party is this weekend at a restaurant downtown. You should come. And I was like, I really like her. I haven't seen her forever. I'll show up. And I didn't really think about all the rest of that, having to be social and meet people I don't know, and which is a true nightmare. And so I just went down there without thinking about it. Yeah.
And
Well, that's interesting. Without thinking about it.
Yeah, I didn't.
And you might normally, right?
Yeah. I was just like, I want to see Malia. I'll say hi. Happy birthday.
Here's what's really disgusting to me about it all.
Disgusting.
Yeah, we met on 6th Street because
Oh,
it was
really?
the restaurant on 6th Street.
Yeah, it was the Iron Cactus.
I was like, how fucking straight are we?
That's pretty darn straight.
Yeah.
It was a fun night, though.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, considering I was in an uncomfortable situation. Of just not knowing anybody and having to make conversation with people.
Well, yeah, because I saw you and I was like, hi.
Yeah, you were very nice. You're one of the very, very few people that went out of their way to talk to me, because I'm happy to sit in the corner and not. Like, I don't
observe.
care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he came over and chatted with me. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when we went dancing at the gay clubs and I touched your hair and it was soft and I was like, I'm going to make out with him. And I did.
He said that. He's like, your hair's so soft. And then I'd make out with you.
Planted one.
That's adorable. And that was 10 years ago?
Almost 11.
11.
Yeah.
11. Wow, y'all.
I know. I was 20.
awesome.
Just kidding.
You keep trying.
I know. Michelle, I've learned to make a veil of my age, so then people never know.
Yeah.
There's going to come a point, though, where you have to go older, so then they think, oh, you look so good for 40.
It'll never show up on IMDb.
Yeah.
Those bastards will ruin everyone's game.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, they'll find that
Are you
age.
bothered by your age?
It's a weird thing. I like it. I kind of jokingly make a lot of stuff about it because I'm in the gay community and there's all that stuff. But
That
then
stigma around age.
Yeah. But in therapy
as
world,
if it doesn't happen.
yeah, we're all going to be raisins in the end if you make it there.
Mm-hmm.
So just get ready. But in therapy world, it's actually this huge benefit because people see you and they go, "Oh, you're obviously wise because you've been on this planet longer."
Right.
Yeah. When I first started seeing clients, I would have some people be like, "You think you can help us?" And I was like, yeah, because I fucking studied this shit for 2 years.
Right.
Yeah. And, people who are new to therapy, they have usually more newer information.
Yeah.
So, you get taught, these models from the 60s, and then what do you learn to, add on to that? Mm-hmm. And if you're fresh out of grad school, you're probably going to grab onto something that's new and hot.
I imagine you're an amazing therapist. The times that we've had chats about sort of I don't know, my stuff, and you're talking about what's going on with you and other. I can tell that you are really good at what you do.
Thank you.
I'm grateful that you're here to help people.
Well, the only reason I'm good at it is because a lot of people have been lovely and open and made spaces for me to like learn and grow. Like one of the things that is really amazing about BedPost, and you probably did not realize this in creating this, for me, it has helped me understand that I'm more pansexual.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, and it's funny because these people know, so I'm okay talking about it here. Like Ebony and Carrie. Mm-hmm. I see where I have like glimmers of pansexuality. I don't think it's just a silly like, I'm so gay, this is ridiculous anymore. Right. It's like, no. One, I'm like genderqueer, and I'm definitely attracted to other genderqueer people. And then to be like, oh, there's some femme energy in the world that I am about. Mm-hmm. So your girl's on like a new road here.
How fun.
Unexplored territory. I
can't wait to hear about
I'm
that.
sure.
How fun.
I was telling MaSean, I was like, I was talking about Carrie. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I was all like, I might need you to hold my hand if I like hook up with Carrie. Can you like be giving me moral support?
She's going to think that's real hot.
I think so. She's pretty open-minded.
His husband held his hand. It was super weird.
Yeah.
I think that sounds really erotic, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
But
this idea of, yes, could do it.
And I think part of it is, too, having people who are like, yeah, I get that this would be new for you, and that is okay. Mm-hmm. Right? Like in like the bigger picture outside of sex-positive spaces, it could be really scary to navigate that, not knowing like, oh my gosh, it's my first time exploring this in real life, and what does this mean? But to be able to be that vulnerable, and someone's like, yeah, I'm here for it, and what might you need if things go awry or if things come up for you?
Absolutely. There's a chapter in my book about me having sex with a 21-year-old virgin who was a fundamentalist Christian who had really kind of internalized sex in a really negative way. But
you're doing the dark arts.
Yeah,
I love it.
Totally.
So,
it was really amazing. And I told the story at a storytelling show in Dallas called Oral Fixation, and the crowd there was very different from our BedPost.
Yeah,
wild.
Crowd. But they were proud of me.
Yeah.
A lot of, you are very brave to have shared that story with them.
Yeah.
I like that you ushered someone in through their sexual debut. That's what we're calling it now.
So, yes, I like that. Sexual debut.
No clue.
Yeah, MaSean's like I'm like a debutante. Like I showed up.
Oh my gosh.
And I had like all these dicks on me, and I was like, hi.
A cocktailian.
I'm of age. Let's do this. A cocktailian.
Yeah.
I fucking love you.
I knew you'd jump on board.
Yeah. No words. Stroke. Does anyone else smell burnt toast? Sadie, where can people find you?
On Facebook, Sadie Smythe. On Instagram, Sadie Smythe.
Yeah. There's BedPost Confessions.
BedPostConfessions.com.
Yeah.
The BedPost Confessions podcast. You can search Sadie Smythe. I've got a few stories up there.
Drink Slingers.
DrinkSlingersATX.com for all of your event bartending needs. We do weddings, corporate events, private parties, and festivals.
I love it. You bring like all these like chill, fun, cool people.
Yeah.
And they just make delicious drinks.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. And they're very, very fun people. And they bring the party, as we like to say.
Well, Sadie, you are absolutely amazing. Thank you for being like my big mama energy.
Always.
And, you know, let PK Griggs know what's up. Give her a heads up that her kid's like still good.
School his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've never had a real chance to talk before, and it's been wonderful.
It has been lovely.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Little skeeter scooter action. All right, anyway. What else you got? What's on that page?
Let's see. MaSean.
Yes.
I'm trying to like give us like, I'm trying to give Mariah breaks.
Setup.
So let's try it again.
You could have kept going. I understand
could've.
a break.
I need a break from this conversation.
God. Anyway.
MaSean.
Yes. That got weird.
Have you had people talk to you since our podcast has been coming out?
I have not. I did hand out a couple of little starter sets with our business card and stuff to people that I work with to, clue them in. Because they already listened to some podcast, and I thought, they can, check it out. And I feel like now, as of this moment, this was probably a mistake.
Yeah.
The people I work with are not people I'm completely connected to at all in any way, shape, or form.
They all think you're a lovely human being. Little do they know.
Yeah, I mean,
what a tremendous turd you truly are.
Partly that, but also
when we go to like your work parties, everyone's like, MaSean, I love him. And I'm all like, if you only knew.
Well, yeah, it's true. They all have created this pillar in which to put me on, which is really interesting because they know nothing about me.
And in that moment, I'm not in the spotlight, so I really don't handle it well.
Yikes.
I remember we talked about this, and you were like, really? Like, I can't have one night? And I'm like, MaSean, what is it like for you to be pushed into the spotlight? And you're like, oh, I get it.
It's the same for you to be pushed out.
Yeah, bitch.
Whatever.
It's not what you're used to. It's not what you like. It's not how you navigate the world, you piece of shit.
If it's any consolation, I don't like being pushed in. So
I know you don't.
But anyway, yeah, so all these people that I don't have the need or want to be connected to in any way more than I've allowed at work. Now
they have insight into who you really are.
Yeah, they now know that I'm on a podcast.
They know what a gross bitch you really are.
But it's been like a week and a half, and I haven't asked about it, and the only people that have come up to me and talked about it are people who have actually downloaded the podcast, but who haven't actually listened to it yet. And they've made that mention. They're like, hey, I downloaded your podcast, but I haven't checked it out yet. And I'm like, enjoy.
I have
so we'll see.
Clients and colleagues who've been listening. So I have some people who are like fangirls at this point, which is hilarious because they'll say stuff to me. And we recorded some of these back in like, October? Whew. So my brain is like, what the fuck were we thinking?
September,
I said that at one point.
Yeah.
And I realized after listening to all the podcasts, because I was like, oh shit, I should probably go back and listen to all these in a row and make sure I know what the fuck we're going to edit it together. Because she's crazy sometimes.
A little quality control.
Mm-hmm. I have a catchphrase that I did not realize.
Okay. What is the catchphrase?
Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it somehow goes up every time when I say it.
It's soon going to be inaudible.
Yeah.
You're going to sound like Beaker from the Muppets.
It's only dogs can hear it.
Yeah. She just turned around.
Scott's like, what? I can't imagine. So now we're just going to get you a catchphrase. What's that going to be? That displeases me.
Always. Yeah, I can't imagine what a cool catchphrase would be. Put that on a salad and see what happens.
Oh,
I have no idea.
Gross. Gross.
Yeah, I mean something that makes absolutely no sense. I can't come
that
up
on
with
a
things.
salad and see what happens.
My mom once said in a public forum, I would have told her to go roll her panties. I can't properly express to you how uncool she can be in public.
Yeah.
Everyone was so weirded out by the phrase that they walked away.
Roll her panties.
There's a story. It's not great. It's about a person asking for zigzag papers. And my mom was put off.
That someone would use the devil's lettuce?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was her response that would have come out.
Wow. Your mom has never done drugs.
No, she hasn't done a lot of things. She's never been cool. That's for sure.
She's never done cool.
Anyway.
Do you think Bam Boozled would be a good drag name? I think so. Pam Boozled.
Yes.
Yes, bitch.
Pam
She worked
Boozled.
it out.
Yep.
Pam Boozled.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's going to be Mariah's new drag name.
Pamboozled.
Everyone, welcome to the stage, Pam Boozled. Yeah, she's ready for it.
Mm-hmm. She's ready for everything.
Oh. Lucky Jordan.
She handled a 10-pound Toblerone.
What?
She had to throw it in the garbage and not let it on the plane because it would cost extra. She handled it for a minute.
It's the opossum's problem now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anywho. Going to bed now. I'm just kidding.
Me and My Gorgeous Husband was brought to you by Mariah Gossett, MaSean Fontenot, and Adam Marr.
Done. Just kidding.
MaSean, you know what I want?
What?
For this year?
I was going to say for Christmas.
No, bitch. For this year?
That is?
I want people to review and rate our podcast on fucking iTunes and shit.
Yeah, that would be lovely because otherwise I have nothing to do with my weekends.
Yeah. So you keep hitting refresh and see what people write because, they're going to do it.
I'm going to rate us right now.
Biggest dick in the podcast game.
Perfect.